Happy Derby night, everybody. Good evening to you from the Wave Weather Now Studios. Carson Meredith saying hello, hello. Hope you have had a fantastic Derby 150. We made it. We did not have rain at the track today. It's a miracle, right? We got close. I'm tell you what. Around 6 o'clock tonight, about an hour before post, there was a pretty good little downpour that was initially in Floyd County, and it just kind of straddled the Ohio River and got as far into the metro as Prospect. So it was a close call at Churchill Downs tonight, but it all worked out. Now, having said that, now that we've got Derby behind us, we have a lot of storms to talk about. Maybe as early as tonight. Tonight shouldn't be a big deal, but we're going to show you what's happening now and see who could have a few rumbles of thunder overnight tonight. And then the big storyline, of course, is beyond tonight. Looking ahead to next week, it looks busy, unfortunately. We've been so focused on Oaks yesterday and obviously today. Now we've really got to pay attention to Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, and that's what we're going to dive into tonight. So we'll get our boxes up here, and we will see who's chiming in tonight. A little bit later than usual. Usually I like to do these around 7:30 on weekends, but you can understand it's been a pretty busy couple of days here around Wave. But I really hope you got to take in our coverage of Oaks and Derby. Our folks did an absolutely fantastic job, as they always do, and we'll do it again next year and for many more years to come. In case you missed it, we will be your Kentucky Derby official station for until at least 2032, as NBC will be the home of the Derby for another 8 years. They announced that earlier today. All right, let's get to it. Let's see. Cody says, good evening from Hardin County. Cheryl says, good humid evening from Comiskey. Yeah. Is it really Derby Day or is it June or July? It's soupy out there, isn't it? Let's see. Jackson talking about Colorado State University, their machine learning program that we talk about a lot here, the severe weather potential that machine spits out. It looks a little concerning for Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's what we're going to dive into here in a moment. Shonda, always watching in Jeffersonville, Weather Geek on YouTube as well, asking about the severe threat for next week, day by day. We're going to break it down day by day. Carissa is nervous for next week. Almost 9 months pregnant. Don't need it. I don't blame you, Carissa. First of all, congratulations on the newborn that's going to be on the way soon. As we say all the time, no need to stress. No need to panic. Just know what's happening and you'll be just fine. We're going to break down what we know at this point here over the next little bit. Let's see. Derek, potential for wind damage. Yeah, it's there, Derek. We'll talk about it. Nathan says severe weather decided to come back to the Ohio Valley. But you know what, Nathan? At least it didn't happen, the severe weather part on Oaks and Derby, right? If you were out at Oaks yesterday, it was a soaker, that's for sure. But we dodged the rain on Derby Day. We could be thankful for that. Let's see. We'll take the weather blog anytime we can get it, Cheryl says. Well, good. Yeah, we like to do these updates on weekends, too. Sharon's in Nelson County. Brandon's, hey, Carson, start the downtrend for Tuesday and Wednesday, will you? I believe me, Brandon, I could if I would if I could. But I don't have that power, unfortunately. Luke says, good evening from Indiana. We could be seeing some high chances for severe weather. That is indeed the case. Nancy in Bardstown tonight. Kathy is in Trimble County. And Ralph always watching in Nicholasville. Let's take you live to the Twin Spires. It's quieting down. I think the last 2 races of the night are done. You know, a lot of people forget. After the Derby, there's a couple of undercard races still to go once all the pomp and circumstance is done. But those are wrapping up. Lights are still on, of course, as the gigantic cleanup process begins out at the track. What a race it was. Hopefully you got to see it on Wave and NBC. 3-horse race down to the wire. One of the closest derbies we've seen in a long, long time. Mystic Dan, your winner. Maybe you won some big bucks. He was 18-1, I believe, at post time. So I went with fierceness. I felt pretty good coming down the stretch, and then he just backed up. It is what it is. All right, it is 74 degrees tonight here in Louisville. It is soupy. Goodness. I am not a fan of summer. Don't like it at all. Fall is my favorite season. I like spring too because it's nice and comfortable. I don't like this. It's very muggy, and you could tell when you look at the dew point. 63. That, my friends, is air you can wear. And that is really not going anywhere anytime soon. And that's going to set the stage for this stormy setup that we have on the way for next week. Right now, we only have one alert day. That is for Wednesday, but I've got a feeling we're going to have to tack on another day in future forecast updates, and I'll explain why here in a minute. All right, radar's quiet here in Wave Country. Let me zoom in here. A few downpours just moved out of Henry County. They're moving into Owen County, about to cross I-75. It was that little pocket of downpours around Derby time when they were in the metro, and I was a little nervous that it was, one, would produce lightning and would be within 8 miles of Churchill Downs. Then we might have had some problems. But you know what? That didn't happen, so it's all good. Anyway, the last of those downpours are moving out, and this is now the main focus for the rest of your Saturday night. This is a pretty decent line of storms that is in central and southern Illinois tonight. About 2 hours ago, there were numerous severe thunderstorm warnings along this line, but that is no longer the case. The storms are weakening, and I expect them to continue weakening as the night goes on. Having said that, some of these storms will make it to our neck of the woods overnight tonight. But let's be very clear. They will almost certainly not be severe. Severe weather chance tonight, 0 to 100 is 3%. Very, very, very low risk for any severe storms tonight. But you can see our lightning count at the top of the screen is 168. So there's still a lot of lightning with this little cluster of storms. And there could be some pockets of wind in there too, around 30, 40 miles per hour. But I do expect these storms to just keep on weakening since we've lost the heat of the day. The sun's gone down. There's still plenty of moisture, obviously, for these storms to feed on, but there's just not much fuel. So these storms will continue to fade as the night goes on. In fact, as we put radar into motion over the last 3 hours, you can see where they perked up right around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. And they're slowly but surely fizzling just a bit. But we all have about a 30% chance for these storms to hold on long enough to where they move into our backyard overnight. Let's say from 11 o'clock tonight through 4 a.m. Okay. During those 5 hours, you may hear a few rumbles of thunder, but there's no severe weather concern. Really good sleeping weather overnight tonight if you like the sound of thunder just kind of rolling while you're trying to sleep. So these are good storms, if you will. They're behaving. Should be just fine. Let's see. Oh, everybody's talking about their horses. See how they went tonight. Kathy says, mine came in third. Good. Good, Kathy. I wish mine did. 15th, I think it was. The winner by a nose hair, Kevin says. Yeah, sure looked like it. Close. I think NBC said closest finish since 96. So 28 years since we've had a wire by a nose finish. And not to mention those 3 horses this year. Really great race. Rusty, any snow? Hey, remember, Rusty, we had snow on Derby Day back in the 80s. Let's not play those games. No, I'm kidding. There's no snow in the forecast until probably November or December. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Rusty's asking about the tornado risk. There is the chance for some by the middle of this week, and we'll talk about that here in a sec. Lots of folks chiming in tonight. Doug asking for Greene County too. As far as those storms tonight, yeah, there could be a couple of those storms that make it into Greene County. I will say the better chances for these storms to hold together will be to the north of Greene County, but we'll keep a 20% chance in for a few rumbles down near Greensburg tonight. Nathan wanted Catching Freedom, and he was in fourth. Oh, man, just missed the podium, if you will. Let's see. Sabrina, you're doing a great job. Very kind of you, Sabrina. I appreciate it. Ashley, Derby 150 really showed out, was rooting for West Saratoga. Where did he finish? I didn't even look at the full rundown. But he really wasn't a factor. That was kind of surprising. Dornoch really wasn't a factor either. So that's why we watch, isn't it? Because you never know what's going to happen. That's why a lot of people put money on it too. All right, back to the weather now. You can see, let me pause this radar here for you. And if you look close, right there, that, my friends, is an outflow boundary. That means these storms are gusting out, if you will. So along that little outflow boundary, you might have some stronger wind gusts, but that means that those storms are starting to weaken, which is good. But those outflow boundaries, those gusts of wind, those gust fronts, could set off additional downpours further to the east. Let's say out towards Evansville, Carbondale, Illinois, to the east of Carbondale, I should say, maybe out towards Madisonville as well. So we have to keep an eye on additional storms flaring up ahead of the main line near Evansville, as well as the main line itself. So a few little components that we're watching as the night goes on. But again, there's no severe weather threat. None. Okay? Take comfort in that. This is 11 o'clock tonight on Futurecast, and you see exactly what we're talking about. That is what is left of those storms as they cross the Wabash River moving towards Evansville. A few rumblers, some heavy downpours. That's the extent of it. Now, as the night goes on, you see some of those storms do make it to wave country. Like I mentioned a moment ago, I think the main area to watch tonight for some of these storms is going to be along and north of the parkway. So Litchfield, E-Town, Bardstown points north. Louisville, Hardinsburg, Shepherdsville, Brandenburg, Corydon, Salem, the Knobs, Jeffersonville, Scottsburg, Salem, so on and so forth. You guys have the best chance to see a few thunderstorms tonight. But if you're south of the parkways, out here in Lebanon, Mumfordville, Campbellsville, Columbia, Greensburg, we're not going to totally rule out a few downpours making it that way. But you notice it's just not a whole lot. You might get woken up by a few rumbles of thunder. You may hear some heavy rain hitting the window. That's the extent of it. Okay, so you can sleep easy tonight, and we'll go from there. I'm going to go home and take a nap tonight because I'm not worried about severe weather. Okay, so should be fine. And you notice by 5 o'clock in the morning, there's not much happening at all. Just maybe one or two showers in central Kentucky. That's all. So tonight should not be a big deal. I'll keep an eye on those storms in case they decide to misbehave. But we should be okay for your Saturday night. We'll keep that 30% chance for a few storms. Otherwise, for a lot of you, it's going to be warm and muggy. And that's it. 64 is our forecast low. In the suburbs, low 60s is a good bet, but I mean, it is definitely not going to be very comfortable tonight. How about tomorrow? I would say tomorrow is pretty similar to today with not as many downpours. If you're down in central Kentucky, you saw quite a bit of rain today. Heavy rain at that. So we could see a few downpours again tomorrow, but the chances are lower tomorrow than they were today. It's a 20% chance, but it's still going to be warm and it's still going to be soupy. 82 is where we're heading tomorrow here in Louisville. And you can see the rain chances broken down hour by hour. 10 to 20%, that's about it. Should be just fine for the most part tomorrow. Just watch the skies, have that wave weather app handy in case you get an alert on your phone that says, hey, there's lightning nearby, there's heavy rain nearby. But if you got any plans tomorrow, don't cancel them outside. Just keep an eye at the skies and the wave weather app, all right? Some of you, like a lot of people that work for Wave TV, will probably be having a post-Derby lazy day. because we've been working so hard this past week or so, and we all just kind of need a day to breathe. Good day for it tomorrow. So let's go through Futurecast, shall we? There you see 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. This particular forecast model is the HRR model, high resolution rapid refresh. And I will say it's been performing really well this weekend. It was spot on with the rain chances yesterday for Oaks, and it did a pretty good job pinpointing the storm chances today too. For tomorrow, it shows most of the activity east of I-65. And I do believe that will be the case. Better downpour chances east of 65, but everybody could still see a few downpours. There's no severe concern tomorrow during the day at all. Just heavy pockets of rain. That's about it. But you notice tomorrow night, this is around 10 o'clock. This is kind of the first big wave of storms we got to watch this week, okay? 10 o'clock tomorrow night, look at all of that heavy rain down near Evansville, Owensboro, Madisonville, Hoptown, Paducah, Bowling Green. That, like tonight, will be moving into wave country after sunset. And just like tonight's storms, I do expect these storms to weaken as well as they move in, okay? And you can see that pretty well here by 2 o'clock Monday morning. Maybe a few heavier downpours, especially across Kentucky tomorrow night. Some loud storms, maybe some gusty winds, but we are not in a severe weather risk for tomorrow night, all right? For the most part, this will once again just be rain, maybe heavy, and some wind and lightning. Nothing severe. But the big difference with tomorrow night compared to tonight is that rain is going to be much more widespread. It's a 60% chance for rain late tomorrow night. And that rain will likely linger into the Monday morning commute everywhere across wave country. So pack your patience Monday morning. The roads are going to be a mess probably, especially if this lighter, steady rain decides to stick around, which most forecast models suggest that it will. Then we get towards noon on Monday, and you notice that big slug of rain is gone, but there's going to be some hit and miss storms around. And the potential for Monday severe weather depends on how many breaks in the clouds we see. We see more sunshine. You guys know the drill. Heavy rain, damaging wind gusts could be a possibility. We don't see a whole lot of rain or cloud cover or a lot of breaks in the cloud cover, then we'll just have that chance for typical scattered showers and storms, okay? So that is the situation for the rest of this weekend and into Monday. Wednesday is an alert day. For the time being, it is the only alert day, but I got a feeling we're going to have to add Tuesday as well, because this is going to be a system that it's hard to explain. You've got a system that's basically just going to park itself nearby, and you'll have these little disturbances that just kind of ride along that boundary. And that's going to set off these waves of showers and storms, some of which could be severe, especially Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, for right now, the only alert day is Wednesday, because we're a little more confident in seeing severe storms on that day. But if the trends that I'm seeing continue, we may have to flag Tuesday as an alert day as well. Those are really the two primary days that we got to watch, okay? And what we'll be looking at are clusters of storms that just kind of blow up and blitz through the region, potentially causing all modes of severe weather, damaging winds, heavy rain, tornadoes. Yes, tornadoes are on the table. But as far as the details, as far as the exact scope of the threats, the exact timing of these clusters of storms, in this kind of setup, that is very, very, very hard to nail down 3 or 4 days away. We should be getting into those higher resolution models tomorrow, the first of them tomorrow. And then by Monday, we're going to have a really good idea of how all this will play out. Okay. And one thing that I will say, just looking at the general timing, is potentially the worst of this severe weather could be at night, Tuesday night and Wednesday night. I don't want to get into any more specifics than that because that can still change, of course. But in general, the indications are the greatest severe threats will be in the evenings, both Tuesday night and Wednesday night. For Wednesday in particular, for that alert day, you see the SPC added a slight risk for everybody. All 34 counties in Wave Country are under a slight risk for severe weather on Wednesday. Same story for Tuesday. So both days, Tuesday, Wednesday, slight risk for severe weather for everybody across the board. Again, why are we showing you just Wednesday? Because that's the only alert day we have. But I got a feeling we're going to have Tuesday as well. Okay. We're just holding off one or two more forecast model runs, and then we'll likely tack it on. But it's Wednesday in particular that concerns me because the parameters for Wednesday are pretty impressive. I think it's Jackson on YouTube was that talking about CSU. Yeah, here we go. So the CSU, Colorado State University, they have this new machine learning tool. It's basically AI that pinpoints the severe weather threats across the country. And I forgot to put it in my hit tonight. I apologize, but I wish I had done that. I forgot. But anyway, that machine for Wednesday has a big bullseye right over us for severe storms. Now, because it's 5 days away or 4 days away, it can't get too specific. But that raises our red flags, right? We got to pay attention to Wednesday. And that's why I say the severe weather concern for me is higher on Wednesday, but it's also there Tuesday. Kind of confusing, I know. Futurecast for Tuesday afternoon, it shows that potential first wave of storms to our west pushing through. Then here comes another one late Tuesday night. And it's like I said, it's the evening overnight hours, both Tuesday night and Wednesday night, that we really need to pay attention to for that more organized severe weather threat. Okay, let's keep going. You notice on Wednesday, there's another one pushing to our south. But around this time, Wednesday night, a couple model runs ago, it had that line of storms down to Tennessee, right along the Ohio River. And that's why we're not wanting to get too terribly specific at this point as far as how this is all going to play out. We just are blanket saying across the board, Tuesday, Wednesday, the days to watch. Greater severe weather concern at the moment appears to be each evening, Tuesday and Wednesday. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Let's see here. Ashley's got a question. Monday night. Monday night's fine. Monday night should be fine. There could be a few storms around Monday night, the scattered hit miss kind of stuff, but we're not expecting significant severe weather Monday night. Carissa says, do you see us getting upgraded to an enhanced or a moderate? That's a good question, Carissa. You know, I've said this before. I don't like to say, oh yeah, we're going to go enhanced or moderate. I'm not a huge fan of that because that's not my job. That's the Storm Prediction Center's job in Oklahoma. But I will say this. The fact that we have, hang on. Come on. Computer's slow. There you go. The fact that we have this severe weather risk already for Wednesday, the slight risk, leads me to believe that there is at least a chance that this gets upgraded, because it's not very often that the SPC puts out a risk beyond 3 days. And we're 4 days away here? So it's another one of those deals where red flags go up. Like, okay, we got to pay attention to this. So again, I'm not going to pinpoint whether or not how high the risk is going to go, but it's something that definitely needs to be watched closely, and it has the potential to be of concern, especially Wednesday in particular. So I know I kind of danced around that question, Chris, but I hope you understand. Doug, Monday night, Greene County, hit and miss storms. Nothing severe expected Monday night in Greene County or anywhere in Wave Country. Francisco, anything like what happened in Oklahoma? Man, have they been hit hard the last week or so? Goodness. The whole plains. Week ago you had Omaha, Nebraska get hit hard. Then Oklahoma this past weekend. There's been more severe weather issues in Oklahoma and Texas this week. No, we do not expect anything like what happened in Oklahoma. Good question, Francisco. Having said that, the tornado threat will be there both nights. And it's Wednesday night in particular that's, for me, just my personal opinion looking at the data. Wednesday night is a little more concerning than Tuesday night, but the threat is still there both nights, both days. All right. But not expecting what we saw in Oklahoma to happen here. Brooke asking similar thing. Again, I'm not expecting those big, gigantic tornadoes here. Okay. There could be some little spin ups like we saw about a month ago out in Prospect. We could have something like that again, but none of those huge half-mile wide monsters that just flatten everything. Okay. Good question. Let's see, Cheryl, I skipped over one of your comments. Cheryl really needs it to be dry on Monday. Oh, Cheryl, I wish I had better news for you. Monday morning looks pretty damp with just rain. And we may get some pockets of dry time Monday afternoon and Monday night, but there'll still be some scattered storms around throughout the entire day on Monday, Cheryl. So might have to dodge some raindrops on Monday. Let's see here. Gary, you lay it out and explain things clearly. People need to pay attention. Well, and quit asking. Well, Gary, first of all, I appreciate the kind words. But, I stay on these videos a little long, and that means some people come and go. I stay on these videos a long time so that we can explain everything clearly, right? Break it all down for you. That's our job. It's much easier to do this over 30 minutes instead of 3 minutes on TV, right? That's all we get, 3-4 minutes. But some people come and go, so I don't mind repeating things too much. But thank you for the kind words, Gary. I appreciate it. Ashley, so wait, are these supercells? That's another thing too. A lot of folks have anxiety. I totally get it. I was scared to death of tornadoes when I was a kid. Scared to death. Ask my parents, they'll tell you. But now I'm a meteorologist because I wanted to learn more about it, right? But as far as the supercell concern, Ashley, it's too early to say if we'll have supercells. I'm not going to rule it out, but I don't expect the gigantic tornadoes like we saw in the plains over the last 10 days. Okay? More than anything else, it's going to be these bigger clusters of storms, these MCSs. What the heck is that? Mesoscale convective systems. That's a fancy way of saying big clusters of storms. And I think that's our main concern for the middle part of next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Derek is chiming in. Wind damage, it's possible. That is for sure. Brandon, odds of strong, large tornadoes, very low. Very low. This is the kind of setup that produces tornadoes, yes, but the lower end, like EF0, EF1, EF2. But we all know that those can cause damage, right? We just had that EF2 back on April 2nd that went through southern Clark County, Prospect, into Oldham County. So we got to pay attention to it, right? The videos are sad. Kayla, you're right. It's been, what was that little town in Oklahoma? Sulphur, Oklahoma, last week? Man, I love these small little towns in this country because they have so much culture, unique culture that kind of people just forget. And I love exploring those little small towns. So I always hate to see those videos like that. It is sad. But we're going to get through this just fine. We always do. Remember, we can replace property. We can't replace you, right? That's why we're here, is keep you and your family safe, okay? Let's see. Cheryl says, really appreciate all your time and hard work. I love the blog explanations. Well, again, very kind of you, Cheryl. But remember, it's not just me. You know, Brian Good's always here every single morning around 9 or 10 o'clock doing the same exact thing. He can get into a lot more technicalities than I can, but that's what we're here for, is to just break it all down for you, bit by bit, step by step. Most likely it can change still, Josh says. Yeah, I mean, we got to keep an eye on it, but I'm not expecting these larger violent tornadoes next week, okay? Or the little spin-ups. Yeah, of course. Of course, Ashley, you bet. Ohio Valley Storm Chasing. Jason, good evening on YouTube. QCVs, QLCS, it'd be more QLCS in all likelihood. QLCS, MCS, you know, lines of storms, clusters of storms. It's going to be spin-ups if we see any next week. Ashley, Brian knows me by name. Yeah, Ashley, you're one of our most frequent viewers on Wave Weather Now, so we got you covered. All right, I know I'm going long, but one more thing I want to touch on real quick is rain, because we are going to see quite a bit of rain in the next week. A lot of the country is actually, much of the eastern and southern U.S. So here in our neck of the woods, we're probably looking at about 1, maybe 2 inches of rain with all these clusters moving through. Generally speaking, 1 to 2 inches of rain. But if you get these heavier storms that decide, you know what, I'm just going to sit right over your house for a long time, then you might have a couple pockets of 3 inches of rain. And of course, we really can't nail down those exact heavier amounts until we get closer. But in general, 1 to 2 inches of rain across the board. So we will keep an eye on that as well for maybe a flooding concern. I'm not necessarily worried about flash flooding, but some of those creeks and rivers may run a little bit high as we get towards next weekend. Speaking of next weekend, let's pull up the 10-day, shall we? You notice the 10-day is back to normal. No more bugler call to the post since Derby's over. Sad, but life goes on, right? Next weekend is Mother's Day weekend. In case you forgot, next Sunday, Mom, I did not forget if you're watching. Temperatures in the low 80s tomorrow, and we'll just kind of hover in that upper 70s to low 80s range for a good chunk of next week. 86, in fact, on Wednesday is the warmest day. But you notice as we get towards Mother's Day weekend that the rain chances do drop. I expect this stormy weather pattern to be pretty much done on Thursday, that being the last day for a few storms. But we keep some pesky showers around Friday through early next week or early the following week. So for Mother's Day, this is obviously going to change. I mean, we're 8 days away, right? But you notice there are some forecast models suggesting a few showers could be around on Mother's Day next Sunday. We're not going to get into many specifics on that because there's a lot of timing differences on that on Mother's Day. You know, we got to get through the timing differences for Tuesday and Wednesday before we can really dive deep into Mother's Day. But Just wanted to put that on your radar, no pun intended. 20% chance for a few spotty showers on Mother's Day next Sunday, and it will be cooler. Look at next Saturday, 70 for a high. And that might be a stretch. I think if you live outside of Louisville, you could stay in the 60s next Saturday. So a little bit of a cool down as we head towards Mother's Day weekend, but in general, we'll dry things out. At least that's the indication at this point. It's not going to be constant storms. There might be a few showers, but it won't be nonstop storm chances like we've got for the next few days. And then, of course, we get a little further into next week. We got to start looking at the PGA Championship forecast at Valhalla. Yeah, that's in a couple of weeks. So we're going from horse racing to golf here in Louisville in the next couple of weeks. That starts on May 15th, 16th, 15th or 16th, somewhere in there. So about 12 days from now. So it'll be in our 10 days soon enough. And of course, we'll have to keep an eye on that forecast as we get closer to the PGA Championship out at Valhalla. All right, a few more comments, and then we will wrap things up here on this Derby night. I know I'm way later than usual, guys, but again, it's been a little crazy with our Derby coverage here tonight, so appreciate your understanding. Let's see. Rebecca just joining. Is there a tornado possibility? There is, Rebecca, Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday is the only alert day for now because that's what we're most confident in for that severe weather potential. But there's a pretty good chance we're going to have to tack on Tuesday as well. Let's see. Shonda always in there. Yeah, we know you guys and gals. That is for sure. Brandon, you're very confident in no large tornadoes. Just triple checking for the anxiety peeps like me. I get it, Brandon. You're good, man. You ain't got to explain it. I don't want to put a number on it, but I am fairly confident we will not see large tornadoes, as in the gigantic ones. I'm pretty confident in that. But we could have some of those little spin-ups that could still cause some damage. Oh, boy. There's Mama. Hey, Mom. Watching. No gift is needed next week. Gift is, having me back in Louisville. That's so sweet. Love you, Mama. It is good to be home. It's really good to be home. Let's see. How bad is Wednesday going to be? Lisa asked. Yeah, there's a slight risk out already, Lisa. It could get upgraded. We just have to wait and see, but we'll have these big clusters of storms that could produce severe weather next Wednesday and next Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, got to watch. Wednesday's the only alert day right now. We may have to tack on Tuesday. We'll keep you posted on that. Thank you, Shonda. Very, 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 very kind of you. I enjoy these. It's fun. It's nice to just chat with you guys. You know, it's like I said, it's so hard to cram all this info into 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That's all we got on a regular newscast. So appreciate the kind words. Let's see. Dave on YouTube, that storm chance Tuesday and Wednesday, is that an overnight thing? So good question, Dave. So we're going to keep the storm chances around all day on both Tuesday and Wednesday. But based on what I'm seeing with the latest data, it's Tuesday night and Wednesday night in particular that really got my attention for the severe weather component. Could we have severe storms Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon? Yes, we could. But as far as the more organized severe storms, that looks like Tuesday night and Wednesday night at this point. But that could still change. We're 3 or 4 days away. But that's where we stand at this point. Okay. Hope that answers your question. Lisa, thank you as always. Of course, it's what we're here for. Let's see. Shonda, I got a grandson named Carson. That means you're extra awesome. Well, I don't know about all that, Shonda, but thank you. I appreciate it. All right, gang, we're going to wrap it up here. I've rambled for way too long and I need a drink of water. So Tuesday, Wednesday, really got to pay attention for severe weather potential. Don't be caught off guard if you hear a few rumbles of thunder tonight. Not severe. Let me show you where those storms are again before we go. Come on. There we go. Looks like a flash flood warning just issued in central Illinois, but these storms are collapsing quick. Got a few little downpours as expected, trying to get going ahead of it. Ahead of the main cluster of storms, might be sneaking into DuBois and Perry and Breckinridge County here in the next few minutes. Next 30 minutes or so, we'll watch those. But again, the severe weather threat tonight is low, very, very low. A few downpours tomorrow, but most look dry. Storm chances ramp up tomorrow night and stay high through Wednesday, with Tuesday and Wednesday being the days of concern for severe weather. That is the too long didn't read version of your Wave Weather Now update on this Derby night. Hope you had a great Derby 150. We appreciate you stopping by, being so late in the evening. I will be on your television screen in about an hour for Wave News at 11 with an updated look at your forecast for the week ahead. And also everything you need to know about that incredible Derby race we had earlier tonight. That will do it for this evening. I appreciate you guys watching as always. I will be on TV at 11 tonight, TV tomorrow morning, and back here on Wave Weather Now tomorrow night as well. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we'll talk soon. Good night.